first address to Congress, outlining an ambitious agenda, suggesting a possible shift in immigration policy.
I believe that real and positive immigration reform is possible.
And the emotional moment with the wife of a fallen soldier that brought the chamber to tears. We're live in Washington, D.C. with the Vice President and Democratic leader this morning.
Severe weather alert right now. A deadly tornado outbreak overnight.
Tornado!
22 reported twisters from Iowa to Tennessee, destroying homes, tossing cars off the road with winds over 100 miles an hour. Now the system is moving east with more than 100 million on alert this morning. Caught on camera. Uber's CEO lashing out at one of his drivers.
They blame everything in their life on somebody else.
Email for town card.
Good luck.
Good luck to you too.
Now this morning he is admitting that he needs help.
And get ready to rumba. The brand new cast of Dancing with the Stars tangoing into Times Square.
You don't want to miss it.
Which gold medal Olympian, World Series winner, and 80s legend are about to battle it out in the ballroom. The big reveal right here live, only on GMA.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Try not to move too much, just a little bit. A lot of excitement for the big Dancing with the Stars reveal.
A lot of excitement around here. I'm going to give you at home a little clue, okay? We pity fool.
That's a little clue? Yeah. That's a little clue?
Yeah, we pity the fool who doesn't watch this.
You've been doing that all morning long. We have a lot of news to get to, and George is in Washington, D.C., where the president, of course, spoke overnight. And George, as you know, we saw a shift in tone from the president.
We certainly did. What a difference a month makes, Robin. You know, very different tone from the inaugural speech just a month ago, 40 days ago. The president striking a much more optimistic note last night. The policy is pretty much the same that we heard during the campaign, but as you said, a much more optimistic tone. And for a man who likes to break the rules, the president really followed the traditions of States of the Union last night, including that moment right there when he honored the widow of Navy SEAL Ryan Owens. Karen Owens brought the crowd to its feet, more than a minute and a half of a standing ovation. That was clearly the emotional high point of the night.
It really was.
Yeah, and it looked like before that speech, the president had a little practice when he was in the car with his daughter Ivanka and his son-in-law Jared Kushner. There's a video there. Looked like he's preparing for what he was about to say.
That's right. We're going to go right to our senior White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega, who is in Washington, has much more for us. Good morning, Cecilia.
Robin, good morning to you. This was a shift in tone from President Trump, perhaps an attempt to reach out to some of the people in that room, perhaps an attempt to try and win over some skeptics, but it was also a speech short on details for how he plans to achieve his vision for America.
The President of the United States.
Right out of the gate, the president delivering on one promise, a message of optimism.
I am here tonight to deliver a message of unity and strength, and it is a message deeply delivered from my heart. A new chapter of American greatness is now beginning.
And softening his tone on another, immigration.
I believe that real and positive immigration reform is possible. If we are guided by the well-being of American citizens, then I believe Republicans and Democrats can work together to achieve an outcome that has eluded our country for decades.
Democrats giving their first standing ovation of the night to combating terrorism.
We will work with our allies, including our friends and allies in the Muslim world, to extinguish this vile enemy from our planet.
But when it came to health care, a break along party lines hit the House chamber floor.
I am also calling on this Congress to repeal and replace Obamacare.
Republicans applauding while some Democrats booed, giving the president a thumbs down. Among the opponents, Democratic women lawmakers dressed in white, a show of solidarity for women's rights. But it was this surprise guest that created the evening's emotional high point.
We are blessed to be joined tonight by Karen Owens, the widow of U.S. Navy Special Operator, Senior Chief William Ryan Owens. Ryan died as he lived, a warrior and a hero, battling against terrorism and securing our nation.
The widow of Chief Petty Officer Ryan Owens, who was killed in combat almost a month ago to the day, sitting right next to first daughter Ivanka Trump. Owens was brought to tears during a nearly 2-minute-long standing ovation.
And Ryan is looking down right now, you know that, and he's very happy because I think he just broke a record.
The president closing with the call to work across party lines.
The time for small thinking is over. The time for trivial fights is behind us.
So about timing, the president was supposed to issue that executive order travel ban, the new one today. We are now being told that is being delayed. As for Democrats, you know, they chose two very symbolic faces to respond to the president's speech, an undocumented immigrant, a dreamer, and the former Kentucky governor, George, who is credited with expanding Obamacare in his state.
Thank you, Cecilia. We are joined now by the Senate's Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer. Senator Schumer, thank you for joining us this morning. You know, the first poll out from CNN showed a pretty positive, overwhelmingly positive reaction to the president's speech. Did he strike a chord with his tone last night?
No, I don't think so. And here's the basic problem, George. His speeches are always totally detached from reality. He talks to the working folks of America. They were his main constituency. But the way he's governed has been totally with the hard right special interests against the working people. So, for instance, he talked in his speech about infrastructure. We Democrats put together a plan a month ago. We haven't heard a peep out of him. No plan, no ideas. Trade, talked a lot about trade. He had a real opportunity on trade, and in his campaign he talked over and over again about making China currency manipulator on his first day. He didn't. And maybe most of all, he said he'd clean up the swamp. His cabinet is filled with bankers, billionaires, people with huge conflicts of interest, denizens of the swamp. So, you know, you can give a speech, but what the American people want is action, and his actions are totally, totally detached from the speech.
One of the
speech will go
places
away. Speech will go away today, and his actions will be there. That's why he had such a rough 40 days.
One of the places he did call for action and even compromise is on the issue of immigration reform. Did you hear something there that you can work with, and are there compromises you're prepared to make?
Seen that movie before. About 2 weeks ago, he called for compromise. His hard right supporters and some of his staff people said you got to walk it back. He walked it back. He spoke to you reporters, you know, a more cosmopolitan national audience, if you will, about compromise, and then he gave a harsh anti-immigration speech. And that's why I believe his next 6 months are going to be even more difficult than these past 40 days.
The Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, was encouraged by what he heard on Obama tonight, that of repealing and replacing Obamacare. And the president seemed to embrace what the Speaker has been working on. Are you still confident they're not going to be able to get repeal through?
Absolutely. The president didn't make any of the tough decisions. I think in their hearts, the Republican leaders were saying, all right, make up your mind. Are we going to just repeal? If we're not going to repeal, what are we going to replace it with? Are we going to give more money to the states who had Medicare, who increased Medicare? Are we going to cut them back? None of that was there, and that's why today he's back in the same old hole on ACA that he was the day before today.
One word we did not hear from the president last night, Russia. Are you confident that the investigative committees in the House and the Senate are going to get to the bottom of whatever happened during the campaign?
Look, it's very serious, and 17 intelligence agencies say Russia tried to manipulate our election. Whether Trump was involved or not, we don't know, and I believe they will get to the bottom of it. That's how America works. It may take a little while, but they will.
Senator Schumer, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, George.
And we are joined right here in the studio now by the Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence. Mr. Vice President, thank you for joining us.
Morning, George.
This morning, well, you just heard Senator Schumer right there. He said the president's speech was detached from reality. The policies don't match the rhetoric.
Well, it was a great speech, but more importantly, it was a great night for America. What the American people saw last night is the president that I serve with every day. Broad shoulders, big heart, but laid out the agenda that he ran on, specifically to repeal and replace Obamacare, to rebuild our military, to rebuild our infrastructure, to have better and smarter trade deals to put American workers first, and to do the kind of tax relief and regulatory reform that will unleash the full potential of the American economy.
Still some Republican divisions on repealing and replacing Obamacare. Are you confident the repeal is going to happen? And will the replacement guarantee that everyone who has coverage now won't lose coverage. That's a promise broken, the president said, by President Obama.
That's right. Well, I'm very confident. We met this weekend with governors from around the country, both political parties, to talk about this. At the president's direction, we've made repealing and replacing Obamacare the #1 priority of this Congress. And what you saw the president do last night is what the American people like to see presidents do. And that is first describe the problem. I mean, really talk about, premiums that have gone up more than 100% in some areas around the country. I mean, these insurance exchanges are collapsing. People have lost the choice of their doctor, lost their insurance. But then the president laid out that framework, those principles, as he described them, that'll now guide the legislative process. And I think it makes it more possible we'll get it done.
Can he guarantee that everyone who has coverage now won't lose it?
I think the president's made it clear to Congress that particularly when it comes to the most vulnerable population, George, the Medicaid population, we don't want anyone to fall through the cracks. And you heard him mention tax credits last night. What the president wants the Congress to do is to create a framework for people to be able to afford coverage. And then lastly, you heard him talk about creating a national marketplace, allowing Americans to buy health insurance across state lines, focusing on lowering the cost of health insurance rather than mandating that people buy government-approved health insurance is a real answer.
Will that guarantee that no one loses coverage?
I think the president's made it clear no one is going to fall through the cracks in this. And we worked with state governors this weekend to make sure, as we said, the most disadvantaged citizens among us are going to be able to rely on having the kind of programs, but better programs. That's what you heard the president talk about last night was really a better future for America, a more prosperous future, a better health care system, better trade deals, and a stronger military that'll have America standing tall in the world again.
The president also talked about immigration last night. You just heard Senator Schumer right there saying he doesn't really buy that the president is coming forward with a comprehensive immigration reform plan. Is he prepared to compromise now, for example, on creating a path to legalization for undocumented immigrants?
Well, if you go back to the campaign, George, there was a famous speech in Phoenix. I was there. Where the president laid out his priorities. And one of the things people saw last night is that the candidate, Donald Trump, is the president, Donald Trump. And he spoke about those priorities. We're going to build a wall. We're going to enforce the laws of this country.
Mexico's going to pay for it.
We're going to enforce the laws of this country. Well, they are. We're going to make sure that we get, in his words, the criminal aliens out of this country first. But it was last summer that the president said that with regard to those that are remaining, that we'll see. And I think what you saw last night was the president acting on the priorities that he ran on. And I think that's the reason why this speech is being so well received, is that people are seeing that the agenda that they voted for, the agenda that a majority of Americans believe is the right agenda for the country, is exactly the agenda that President Trump is advancing.
One thing we didn't hear last night, how all these promises are going to be paid for. Is the president still committed to reducing the debt, moving toward a balanced budget?
There's no question, George, that with nearly $20 trillion in national debt, that this president is committed to fiscal responsibility. The budget outline that he sent to Capitol Hill this week included a historic increase in military spending, but it was offset by cuts in other areas of domestic spending. The president's made it clear he wants to make a priority of national security, rebuilding our military, but he wants to do it in a fiscally responsible way. But the real answer to fiscal responsibility, George, is growth. And the message that President Trump delivered last night was a message of growth through tax relief, regulatory reform, unleashing American energy, better and smarter trade deals. And I think that's the reason why this speech and this agenda is resonating so well around America.
Mr. Vice President, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, George.
Let's go back to you guys up in New York.
All right, George, we'll have more from you in Washington just ahead.
And now let's turn to that severe weather alert after those deadly storms tore across the country overnight. At least 22 reported tornadoes in 4 states, and Ginger Z has the latest. Good morning, Ginger.
Good morning, Michael. It is happening right now. Look at this radar behind me. The tornado watch that extends from parts of Tennessee up through Ohio. This morning we have new damage pictures coming in, and these amazing tornado pictures, that collar cloud you can see around the wall cloud, that major tornado. Well, now we've got pictures this morning out of the Cincinnati area. Just moments ago, we're seeing damage from wind and potentially tornadoes. So please, if you're in this region right now, Nashville, up through Louisville, over into West Virginia, watch out for these severe storms. Lots of dynamics coming into this, a huge temperature gradient where the warmth meets the cold. And it's not just one line, we'll have rounds. Even here in New York City, rounds of storms today where we are in that slight risk region. All right, we'll have much more to come, but for now, we'll go back to Michael.
All right, thank you, Ginger. And let's go to Alex Perez, Illinois, where 16 of those reported tornadoes touched down. Good morning to you, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Michael. You can see just how powerful this storm was. This huge tree underneath it, and underneath all this debris, there's actually someone's home. You can see the tree went right through the window there. So much of this happened in the overnight hours that many people are just now seeing the damage.
Overnight, a tornado outbreak tearing through the heartland. 21 twisters reported across 5 states. In Ottawa, Illinois, ferocious funnel clouds picking up anything and everything in their path. Storm chasers capturing the moment this twister starts to form. Watch as the debris begins slowly circling up.
Tornado!
The deadly tornado killing one, leaving behind a trail of destruction, reducing this nursing home to rubble, paralyzing power lines. Residents scrambling to safety.
It's okay. Had to get in the bathtub to survive, and my whole street is wrecked.
That system bringing baseball-sized hail, and in Wisconsin, the ice littering roads, forcing many to pull over. In Missouri, a tornado taking the lives of 2 people after touching down on Interstate 55, tossing cars and trucks off the road like toys.
And you can see this massive tree also took down a power line here. Crews have been working through the night to try to restore power in this area. The cleanup here is just now beginning. Michael, Robin?
Yeah, we're thinking of all those that are affected. Now, Amy has morning's other top stories, starting with the attack on Kim Jong-un's brother.
That's right. 2 female agents accused of using that nerve agent to kill the half-brother of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un were charged with murder today. They appeared calm while entering a Malaysian court. They could face the death penalty. The women claim they were told the airport chemical attack was actually a prank for a television show. Authorities want to question 7 other North Korean suspects. Back here in this country, a widespread slowdown on the internet has now been traced to Amazon's massive cloud computing service, which went down for more than 4 hours Tuesday. The system hosts more than 500,000 websites, including Netflix, Airbnb, and Spotify. Amazon says the issues are now resolved. And we have new details about the crash at a Mardi Gras parade in Alabama. An SUV slamming into a high school marching band. 3 of the 12 students hit suffered critical injuries. Police say the driver apparently hit the gas instead of the brake. And in Louisiana, a driver fleeing police went flying into the air after hitting a set of spike strips. Look at that. Wow. He was going 150 miles an hour. The truck hit a restaurant and landed on top of a parked car, but incredibly, nobody was seriously injured. And finally, a fashion statement from billionaire Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross. During the president's address to Congress, Ross wore a pair of velvet slippers that cost up to $600. If you look closely, they feature a custom embroidered logo of the Commerce Department. He's taking some heat for his choice of footwear, but you know what? Slippers might have been the right choice considering that speech didn't end until after 10 p.m. And if you're gonna wear slippers to hear the president, at least they were really nice slippers.
Got to keep your feet comfortable.
It's not like you can't afford them.
Exactly.
All right, Amy, thanks so much.
I love your shoes today, Robin.
I'm not wearing any
Robin's
shoes right
barefoot
now.
today.
Wait, I didn't even notice that. Oh, that is correct. Confirmed.
I cannot believe it.
Like we're talking about slippers that just came. It slipped out. How about that? All right. And Jen, you have more on that severe weather.
Yeah, I do. Is that what we're doing today? Because I'll take these shoes off right after. But you look into this. Tennis ball-sized hail, also one of the threats today. That area I need you to focus in on, Rhode Island back through parts of Mississippi. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, the stormy cities brought to you by CarMax.
When you buy a used car, you should feel confident. That's why CarMax has over 40,000 cars to choose from nationwide, with prices clearly marked, the same online as they are in the stores. That should give you some car buying confidence, the type of confidence you need to wear white after Labor Day, the type of confidence to suddenly switch to an English accent for no reason whatsoever. Yep, at CarMax, it's all about confidence. Nothing but net. Nailed it. Or should I say, nailed it, governor.
We do have the chance for some severe thunderstorms later today, the main impact being damaging winds. We're looking between the hours of about 1 to 5 o'clock, so if you have any travel plans this afternoon, definitely want to be paying attention to that changing sky. Slight risk does outline the D.C. area with an enhanced risk head towards Frederick, Winchester. That's the better chance to have those gusty thunderstorms coming into play. Here's a look at our temperatures getting into the mid-70s, but it's looking like an active afternoon.
Coming up, we have the retired police officer accused of murdering a man in a movie theater taking the stand for the first time. What the tape shows, was it self-defense? Dan and Nancy are going to weigh in live for us.
And there's new trouble for Uber's CEO. One of his own drivers catching his angry outbursts on camera.